Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I thought it would be a really fun idea to look at all of the Pokemon in Pokemon Horizons, because there's quite a lot of them, including all of the Pokemon that are on the ship. I've tried to add in every single one here, all of the ones that are owned by trainers and just the ones that chill on the Brave Asagi, and obviously the Explorers Pokemon and recurring Pokemon. But I did one for the characters a while ago, so I thought it would be a perfect idea to do all of the Pokemon as well, since there's some pretty unique Pokemon in this series. So let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy. We have our usual tiers of peak, great, good, average, okay, but you need way more screen time, who are just people that haven't really done anything, or I don't really know or recognise anything they've done, and Zerk is the lowest of the low, the bottom of the barrel. But starting us off, we have Rayquaza, obviously the Rayquaza that has been the main focus of this story, really. And I'm going to put it in great. Rayquaza has been central to a lot of the plotline, and it's just really cool. Shiny Rayquaza has really cool moves, and it is very strong. And then next up, I'm just going to pick up random here. We have Roy's Wattrel, and I'm going to put it in good for now. I feel like recently it has dropped off a bit. We haven't seen it really do much or develop much recently. But the capture episode and a few of the training episodes have been really good, so I feel like we've got just enough of it, but we could do with that little extra push. And then same for Dot's new Tinkating. I'm going to throw in good. Obviously it hasn't been around that long, so it can't quite go higher, but the capture episode was fantastic, and it has a really cool personality, chilling with Quaxley in Dot's room. It's just really cute. And then I'm going to go for Agate's Medichan, and I'm going to put in okay, but needs way more. It's not quite who, because I recognise it and I've seen it do stuff. But even when she finally came to the battle, it didn't really perform or do that much. So, and then we have Ludlow's Quagsire. I'm going to go good. It could possibly be great, but I don't think it's actually done that much. I feel like every time he brings it out is for a real hype moment, so it's always memorable. Liko Satena, I'm going to go average for now. It has a lot of potential. The capture was great. I like its personality and how it senses others' feelings, but I feel like it has to do a lot more going forward. And then we have Hamber's Dust Noir, and this is probably biased, but I'm just sticking it in great because every time it appears, it's menacing, it's strong in battle. We saw a great battle with Amethio where it terastallized. It's just a really cool Pokemon, and I want to see way more of it. And then we have Diana's Arcanine. I'm going to go average for that. It made a really cool entrance where it jumps off of her castle wall, which was really memorable, but other than that, it hasn't really done too much. It's just been a decent Pokemon for her to use. Obviously she did use it in the battle with Liko and Roy as well, where they landed one hit on it, but yeah, it's pretty average so far. I was going to say this for last, but I think it's pretty obvious. We have Captain Pikachu, and he is peak. Like, they had the boldness to introduce us to another Pikachu after Ash's iconic Pikachu has been around for like 25 years, and they nailed it because they made it so different to Ash's, and different moveset, different personality, really good bond with Freed, so hats off to them just for smashing it out of the park with this character. Next for me, I'm going to do Terapagos, and to be honest, I'm going to put it in average. It hasn't done that much other than speak to its old friends, and obviously the one time where it did go into its other form when facing Rayquaza, but it's just been there. It hasn't really done that much. So it was obviously a pendant for half the series. It was a hype moment when it finally came out, but since then it's just been in Liko's bag or in her arms, and the whole second chapter was supposed to be the sparkling of Terapagos, and I feel like it really didn't do anything. And then we have Moltres, and I'm going to go good. I feel like it served its purpose. It's not quite average. Obviously it hasn't had as much screen time as some of the ones below. Its whole arc, its whole rampage in the cave was just really memorable and made for some great moments. The ending was a bit disappointing. I wish Freed and Amethio teamed up to battle it, or we got some bigger climax, because it felt like it just ended pretty quickly and pretty happily ever after, but it still made a massive impact. And then we have Liko's newly evolved Florigato, and I'm going to put it in great. So much potential with this Pokemon. I feel like it started off a bit shaky. It didn't really know what it wanted to be. It was kind of reluctant to obey, but also kind of shy at the same time. It was a weird sort of mix, But I feel like with Florigato, it's going to come out of its shell more. Obviously, we did get that episode 40 where we went back to where it was raised and we saw why it acts how it acts, and I thought that was a really good development episode for it. And Florigato was just so cool, animation on point. I can't wait to see more of this Pokemon in the anime. And then we have Amethio's Ceruledge, and again, this might be biased, but it's peak. Like, it is one of my favourite Pokemon introduced in this generation. Design is incredible. Just the way it battles, the way it moves around, the way it slices things. I think it has been one of the best Pokemon in this series so far. In terms of development and actual personality, maybe not. But in terms of just raw battle and power, I think it's been one of the best. And then we have Sango's Galele. I'm going to put it in good. I feel like it has just them memorable moments where it explodes. It's done it twice now. And it floats while Sango stood on it. It's just a very memorable Pokemon, and I can see it doing a lot more in the future as well. It's also hilarious how whenever she gets mad, she just orders that thing to explode. Next we have Lapras, and this is a mixed bag for me. I don't want to group it in with the arc itself because the arc was bad in my opinion, whereas the Pokemon is pretty cool because of the scars, but the scars don't really make it interesting on their own. I'm going to go okay, but needs way more, because I feel like its personality just wasn't fleshed out that much. Like, why has it got all these scars? What's the whole deal with it? I know it was stealing food to survive, but it was so rushed at that ending of that episode, and it just seemed to, again, like the Moltres situation, it was just like a happily ever after, but it was way worse with Lapras. And then we have Amethio's Corviknight. I'm going to put this in average. It hasn't done too much, but I feel like it's been around, it's done a bit more than some of the others. So yeah, not much to say about that one really. And then we start to move on to a few of the Rising Volt Tacklers Pokemon that are basically stowaways on their ship. We have Noctowl. I'm going to put it in okay, but needs way more. I feel like it's made enough of a mark on me to not quite be in Who. Probably because it's at the top of the ship most of the time. But Carkol is a different matter. I'm going to put that in Who because Who. What has it done? It's just kind of sat there in the engine room. Probably going to get a few of these similar sort of Pokemon that are on the ship in this category. Next we have Roy's Fuecoco. I'm going to put it in great as well. Some fantastic development for it. Some great focus episodes where it learns new moves and just grows. And I'm really looking forward to its inevitable evolution as well, because I feel like it could be done just as good as they did Sprigatito's. Skarmory, and I guess this is just Zerks and Onias. And you know what tier this is going in? This is going in the Zerk tier because I don't care. And then we have Freed's Charizard, and I mean, I'm tempted just to annoy people putting in peak, but I don't think it is quite peak. I'm going to put it in great because it has been a really solid Pokemon for Freed, really good battler, and it's got them out of a lot of trouble. And it's got a pretty good personality and this whole connection it has with Fuecoco, so good stuff all round really. I do feel like it lacks a bit of its own personality and uniqueness, because you could probably compare this to Ash's Charizard or any other Charizard and it would be pretty similar, whereas Captain Pikachu, you can tell they're two different Pokemon. So I feel like if it brought out a bit of its own unique personality a bit more, then it could be a really great Pokemon. Next we have Rhydon, and this is going straight down in the Zerg tier. This thing got destroyed by a brand new Sprigatito, 2 leaves, and it was done. And then we have Sharpedo. I'm going to go okay, but needs way more. We've only seen it once, so it would be unfair to put it any higher, I think. But it did make a really big splash, pun intended. The same for Poltegeist. It had that really, in my opinion, bad filler episode. There was some funny moments, Pokemon Fight Club and all that, but yeah, it didn't really do that much. And then we have Pamwat, and sorry, but you're going straight in Who. I mean, you're a cool Pokemon, but I literally don't remember one thing that you've done. And the same goes for Spinel's Magneton. You just monitor wherever Spinel is, whatever he's doing, you're just outside monitoring. That's all we've really seen from you so far. As for Dot's Quaxley, I'm going to go average. I feel like this is the weakest of the 3 starters so far. It does have a cool personality, but it just needs more. It had that one Oink Alone episode where it kind of come out of its shell and helped, but other than just dancing around in the back of Dot's videos, it really hasn't done too much. It helped with the Tinker Tink capture, I guess. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, maybe it should be in good, but I feel like as a starter it needs to do a lot more. Mousehold, I'm going to go okay, but it needs more. Obviously we've got the one episode where it joined, which is pretty cool. We've seen it a few times since then, scurrying around and just causing shenanigans. And then Nosepass, I'm not going to do who because I kind of remember it as it acts as a compass for the ship, which is a cool little gimmick, but we need more. And again, for all as Metagross, I'm actually going to put this in we need more as well, because we've seen it helping around with the ship, moving supplies and fixing stuff, but it's a Metagross, like it should be doing way more than this. Murdoch's Rockruff, I think good. I think it's been fine. I don't think it's been underused. I don't think it's been overused. We see him with it most of the time. It hasn't really had any specific development, but it's had a few moments here and there. And then we have Aula's Elekid, and I love Elekid, but who? Like, I don't really remember this Pokemon doing anything. I've seen it around, but specifically doing something, I can't recall anything off the top of my head. And then we have Spinel's Behem, and I'm going to put it in average. I feel like it did what I needed to do. It had the whole mind control situation over Liko, which was really cool shot from that. But yeah, I don't think it really needs much more. Snowrun, again, who? I think the only thing I remember Snowrun doing is freezing some sort of drink from Shuckle's berry juice or something. I cannot remember anything else that this Pokemon has done. Alolan Muck, I'm going to go average. Similar to a lot of these, it hasn't really done much. It helps out Murdoch in the kitchen, and it's always just kind of menacingly standing there, but I feel like we need an actual episode focusing on Murdoch and all of his Pokemon, all of his helpers. We have Onix's Aerodactyl, and I'm just going to go okay, but needs more. It's unfair to do who since we literally just seen it, and it's an Aerodactyl. But yeah, we only saw it that one time where he was flying off, so yeah, I think it's got potential. And the same goes for Shuckle. I'm going to go okay, but needs more. I do remember a few things Shuckle has done. I know it was quite prominent in that Fight Club episode, and it makes drinks for people a lot of the time, so it's shown off a bit more than the others. And then we have Onix's Garganacl. I'm going to go average. I like how it turned up in the mansion, just spraying its salt everywhere, and again against Rayquaza, so you can tell it's quite strong in battle, but we haven't seen too much of it. Onya's Golduck is going to go in the Zerk tier. I mean, what else do you want me to say? Liko destroyed this thing off screen. It wasn't even worth watching. They didn't even show us it. That's how weak this thing is. Murdoch's Alcremie, it kind of has the one episode with Mitchell, and we see the whole backstory, and the backstory kind of is enough to carry it to good, I think. Obviously it's an Alcremie, it works in the kitchen with Murdoch, so I think that's fine. I don't think we need much more. Obviously it would be nice to have an episode with all of them, just to show what they do, how they help a little bit more. Slugma, who, I think this guy just sits in like a furnace all day, burning, and yeah, that's it. Arboliva, I'm going to go good. This thing was really cool. It got introduced at the end of an episode. It was like a little teaser, and we had like a whole arc, and I feel like this was one of the most satisfying arcs because it was new, because it was fresh, and this whole Lucius plotline only just kicked off, so I feel like it started all of that really well. Then we have Molly's Chansey. I'm going to go average. It kind of does what it needs to do. It helps Molly out in her doctor's room, but it hasn't really had any specific focus. It gave Charizard a whole damn egg that he just swallowed, which was weird. But other than that, I really can't remember much. I'm really looking forward to getting a Molly episode and seeing them actually do more and learn more about her past. That'd be really cool. And then we have Spinel's Umbreon. I'm going to go good. I feel like it just has had some really cool scenes. Jumping out on the ship to battle the trio, and then battling Freed in the darkness again. It's just a really cool Pokemon, and it's an Umbreon, so I mean, what do you expect? And then finishing off, we have Iono's Bellibolt. this was like the only recurring sort of gym leader Pokemon that I thought. I didn't want to include Caboos or anything because they'd only been one-offs, but Bellibolt has been more frequent, and I'm just going to give it an average. I think Iono as a character has been good, but Bellibolt hasn't really done that much for me. And that is the tier list. I think it's pretty balanced. I mean, there's a big trend of Pokemon that just kind of sit on the Bravasagi and don't really do much, but then there's even lower down that just don't do anything. But I think all the Pokemon in this series have a lot of potential. There's quite a lot of good Pokemon who have had memorable moments, and then obviously we have the great and the peak. And obviously as the series goes on, I think the likes of Sprigatito, now Florigato, and Fuecoco, and even Charizard, to be fair, I think they have the potential to move up to that peak section. And obviously the likes of Wattrel, Tinkatink, you know, they could evolve and become really memorable Pokemon. So obviously this is just the first season that has just finished. Episode 45 is now done, and we're getting way more characters in the next arc, so it's going to be real interesting. But I'll probably come back and have a look at that once this next chapter is over. But thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what your favourite Pokemon in Horizons is so far. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.